Every generation believes it understands the world better than the one before it. We have more technology today, more information, more convenience, but we've also forgotten a whole lot. What if some of the greatest discoveries of our future are actually the forgotten wisdom of our past? We try to explore these questions in this series. Welcome to Through the Veil. I'm Ralo Chukuma. This is a journey into African history, forgotten civilizations, philosophy, archaeology, spirituality, culture, and the timeless questions that continue to shape who we are. Together, we'll separate the myths from the history, tradition from evidence, and assumptions from truth. We won't romanticize the past at all. We won't dismiss the present. Instead, what we are trying to do here is ask better questions, examine the evidence, and search for the wisdom that still has something to teach us today. Because sometimes the greatest discoveries are not new. They are simply remembered, rediscovered. Today's topic, are really asking ourselves, what in our past have we forgotten? And those things that we've forgotten and the new things we have adopted today, where does that leave us? Are we living in a better state today than how we were before planes and cars? We'll deep dive into this question, and then I'll leave you to be the judge. Thank you. So today, we're looking about our forgotten knowledge of who we are, where we come from. Modern society teaches us to identify ourselves by our nationality, our religion, our profession, our race and politics, ideologies, things like that. However, our ancestors often identified themselves through family lineage, clan, village, ancestors, land, occupation, covenants, and community responsibility. So thinking about this, it makes us, explore a couple of questions like, why did genealogy matter so much? These days, I don't know how, when you look at genealogy, you place that side by side by the family structure and society and the whole. We can almost all agree that it's in turmoil. Yeah. People having DNA tests and all of that whole stuff. I think there's a whole lot of confusion going on in terms of genealogy these days than it has ever been. All thanks to modernity, if you ask me. So other questions we might ask is, why could people, recite 10 generations? Why was that possible? In the old days, they didn't have classrooms like we did, but they were still schooled, primarily on their genealogy. So they could mention their forefathers. When we do prayers in Igbo spirituality, you tend to mention all of these forebearers when you're making your prayers and recitations during prayers. Call your forefathers, call fathers. And today we don't have that knowledge. As blacks who, I don't like using the word black, for the sake of wider understanding. And I also hate the word Negro too, but it is what it is. But for us Africans, those of us living the continent and those living in the diaspora, whether through migration or slavery from the past, either ways, we're living in a time where we can't really mention past 5 generations, most of us. Sadly for those who were involved in this transatlantic slave trade, it's kind of worse because they don't know generations of their ancestors here in Africa. But it's also worse for us who didn't go through the transatlantic slave trade, who were born here in Africa years after. Still have no clue as to 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th generation. There's a whole lot that we've forgotten. Then we sit down and we ask ourselves why. But yeah, we've been brainwashed normally. I would say that every single day of the week. Brainwashed to disregard our ancestors, brainwashed to not revere where we came from, our history, and look at our history with sad eyes and no belief in what we built or if we even built anything. And then you ask yourself, why did names carry history, right? Why were children introduced to their ancestors? So you grow up, and as a child, you're taken to know, to the diviner, to kind of have an idea of what your future will look like, who you are. With that knowledge, your parents can already start bringing you up with that knowledge to become who you're going to be. So you end up growing up without being confused, Nowadays, when you try to compare these two ideas, nowadays, as a child, no one knows your future. No one knows. If you've read the book, The Gods Are Not to Blame, you kind of see, all that futuristic tales of people's lives and how it comes back to affect you whether you like it or not, but these things are true. But then what it does, the positive side of it is preparation. So your parents can prepare you to what you're supposed to become. In this day and age, you don't have that preparation anymore, right? What now tends to happen is you get into life completely clueless, trying to figure out what do I want to become when I grow up, who am I, questions like that revolving around identity. And this just metamorphoses into extra confusion, and then people not being able to follow their path in life, probably until an older age or never at all. These were issues that we didn't have to face back in the day. If you're going to be a great hunter, you would know you're going to be a great hunter at a young age. And if your father is a farmer, he's not a hunter, he might probably put you under the tutelage of his brother or your uncle, who is probably a hunter. So you start getting that skill early enough. You're supposed to be a sculptor, right, or an artist. You're encouraged early to start making use of clay pots and things like that, to start creating at a young age. So before you find yourself at 16, 17 years old, you already know what you're doing. You're already making a living. In our modern day and time, people tend to look at footballers and they want to sound a little bit jealous and be like, oh, footballers are supposed to be playing as much as every single day they earn so much money. People wonder why footballers and athletes earn that much. But then I always try to let them understand one thing. These are people who started training at the age of 6, 7, 8 years old. They started curtailing their desires, personal desires at that age, sacrificing their time to put in work physically, mentally, draining every day for years. So someone does this for 8 to 10 years, which is racking up thousands of hours of, honing your skill. So it's no surprise why over time, the value, that they create and how much that they earn really makes sense with the work that they put in and for how long they've put in and from when they start putting in that work. But today we have that, but we live in a world where we have no idea who we are first. Unlike footballers who kind of know that this is what they are going to do from a young age, or a dancer or a pianist, instrumentalist that the parents put in, or an artist that starts his craft at a young age, always metamorphoses to that child being something, achieving something in their life even before 20 years old or the early 20s. But then here in Nigeria or in Africa, we go through primary school, play all the play, not knowing best that we can do. Some of us actually might have skill, but then what if you come from a family that doesn't help you, push you towards that thing that they've seen that you're actually good at? Because sometimes, someone might like dancing at a young age, and probably that person would have just gone into dance school and become the best dancer and danced around the world and probably danced in this World Cup, found yourself on the highest stages of dance or music or whatever. But if it was honed at a young age, then that identity of who we are already sticks. So we'll find that a lot of things that we've forgotten and we stopped doing from the past still haunt us till today, whether we decide to like it or not, which is the issue. And the biggest question we have here is, how have we come so disconnected from our identity? I would let you answer that in the comment section. How have we become so disconnected with our identity? We go to school for years upon years. Some people go to school for close to 20 years doing PhD. Still have no identity, still don't know who they are, what they are meant to do. Still living in that conflicting state of, confusion as to, do I do this? I have skill to do so many things. What am I actually supposed to do? What is that? Divination has been painted evil. No one likes to see the future. Well, that's fine. Reincarnation, Christians and Muslims don't believe. Some other religions too don't. A whole lot of religions too do, but we don't get all of that. We don't get to see who we are before we even become who we are, or know the steps to become who we are, or just moving on vibes and inshallah. Personally, I just think it's the wrong way to go about it. We've also forgotten our relationship with nature. Our ancestors rarely separated themselves from nature. The rivers were not merely water, meant more to them. Forests were not just merely made up of timber, made more. The forest spoke to them, right? The moon was not just merely light in the night. It was deeper than that. It was a life source. They revered the moon as much as they revered the sun. Before street lights, the moon was all we had to walk through the bushes if you found yourself stuck somewhere later than sunset. So these things meant more. People watch the stars to understand time and season, understand when it's agricultural time, when it's time for harvest, when it's time to start planting, and things like that, and understand when it's daybreak and when it's sunset. These little things seem like, because we have a watch, smartwatch for that matter, no one cares to look at the sky again. Everything has been solved. But if the ancients didn't solve this question, how do you think we'll be able to develop the smartwatches that we have today? For me, my own point is, call it me preaching, but preaching for our ancestors that they should be revered. For Africa to be able to move forward to the next step, we need to kind of do a hard reset. We need to take our hardware and do like a hard reset. We seem to have the best genetics as a race. In terms of just genes, Africans have the best genetics. Not me saying it, do your own research. But now the operating system that this hardware has to operate is way below the functionalities. It's more like we're using a Windows 2000 on, the latest MacBook hardware. It's just off, completely off. So the issue here now is, how do we reset our thinking, our entire operating system? How do we reset it? Install the right software in it, operating system, and then operate to the capacity of the hardware that God has given to us. For me, it's an identity issue. We have an identity crisis. If you ask yourself, who are you as a Nigerian? Who is a Nigerian? Who is an Igbo man? Who is a Yoruba man? Who is a Zulu man? Who's a Bantu? Who's an African? Who's a Ghanaian? Who's a Sierra Leonean? When we ask ourselves these questions generally as Africans, what answers do we come up with? What's our identity? What are we known for? If you don't have an identity and you don't have a story, it means you don't have a future. Well, questions we now tend to ask ourselves is, why were certain trees protected? Why do you think there are certain trees in your village that no one wants to cut? Or they have cut it now because of Christianity, but in the past, no one wanted to cut it. I'm sure a lot of us can relate with stuff like that. I can. There was a Iroko tree in my village that was just cut down until recently. No reason why. This tree that has been standing for hundreds, thousands of years cut down. That's just to show you how much we don't care about the past. In football, right, commentators will say sometimes you have to go backwards, go forward. Say that again. Sometimes you have to go backwards to go forward. What that means is we need to identify ourselves from the past, who we were from the past, and then take that in collaboration with the good things we could attach to what is going on now today, for us to be able to go further in life and become who we are supposed to become. Question to ask is, what does Africa look like in the next 50 years? For me, it's an existential crisis going on in the world right now when it comes to Africans. Anybody can snap their finger and decide to nuke us, and nobody is going to bat an eye. Nothing is going to happen. The world will move on. It will be normal. They could choose tomorrow to come back again and recolonize Africa. We have no power whatsoever. Another Leopold of Belgium could emanate and wipe out 5 million Congolese or Nigerians, and nobody will bat an eye. You can see what's going on in Gaza. Not like no one is aware that Gaza is completely gone, and nobody is still batting an eye. Even when European leaders speak, it doesn't move the needle. It doesn't scratch anything in the surface. So when we look back and look at where we are today, also we find out that we are going through an existential crisis. And I guess that's basically why I'm having this series, this podcast, kind of just share my fear and share my hope also, so we could all start banding together, if that's possible, to start reworking the Africa for the future, all of us. Now we know that the brainwashed set of Africans, those that the white man, sucked out, everything and pumped in, those that the white man did the hard reset on, have gotten to a certain age, the particular generations, and that's direct contact with the white man. The generations that had that direct contact with the white man are still currently leading us today. You can't blame, I really don't put any blame on the leaders when you look at, how they came about, their own realities, their own past. But then when we look at those of us who were born between the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, it's really on us. Kind of change the narrative of Africa. And if we can't change the narrative, if we can't start taking the steps to change the narrative, then I don't know which generation, that comes after us. And the future looks bleak. I don't know if it just looks bleak to me, but it looks bleak. So the point now is, where are we? Where have we been? Where do we intend to be? We could answer those questions sincerely and throw away our fears about our ancestors. I think there's so much fear. They weren't diabolical. Let's think about it. How can you say a society that lives without doors and windows hardly had cases of rape, even when women were practically next to nothing, almost bikinis women were wearing at the time? There was no perversion. People hardly died young, had natural medicine, they didn't pay rent, they didn't die from car accidents or plane crashes, right? Not a lot of diseases killed them because they ate healthy food, drank clean water. They didn't need to buy refrigerators because they were able to build refrigerators in their huts. They made use of mud and clay, a thatch roof, perfect with our ecology and our climate, to ensure that both in cold and in heat, your living space was warm and conducive. How stupid or how diabolical do you think such people would be when you could leave your house, go to your farm without doors and windows, come back and everything remains intact? We didn't have policies. People were scared of doing the wrong thing. We've watered that away. I always say that modern religion adulterated the power of God. It still remains because no one fears. If I do something bad, I can only go confess to a priest and my sins shall be forgiven. And I can go back committing that sin because I will go and confess and say I've repented. So the moral degradation of society today is one thing. It could make us not care too much about the evil that we do. However, is that the best for humanity? What was our point here? So another area is the forgotten systems of time that we had. One of the greatest forgotten stories of all is our conception of time. Most people today think time and think clock. They hear time, clock, watch. Our ancestors often thought time, season, time, agriculture, time, ceremonies, time, market cycles, time, stars. They didn't have clocks to tell them what the time was. They had the chicken to let them know that it was daybreak. They had sunset to tell them it was going to get dark soon. They had the moon to tell them what time of season it was or what time of the month it was. So they operated with the stars. They operated with everything around them. And they were pretty accurate. Like I said, accurate to the point of having 28 days in a month, 7 weeks in a month, 13 months in a year with precise accuracy. The Gregorian calendar has 31 days in some months, 30 days in some months, 28 days in February, 29 sometimes, all over the place. And you just know it makes no sense. Sometimes you try to want to see, but you just know it makes no sense. When you can calculate 60 seconds gives you 1 minute, straight up calculation every single time. 60 minutes gives you 1 hour. Always, never changes. 24 hours gives you 1 day. Always, never changes, right? And then you now start having inconsistencies go on. So 7 days gives you 1 week according to Gregorian calendar. And then either 30 days, 31 days, 28 or 29 days in the month, all scattered. The good thing about what our forefathers had is that accuracy stayed the same across every measure of time. You can't take that for granted. You can't know that and then think that what we're living through is superior to that. Even the Mayan calendar that even depicted the end of the world and is very revered by scientists has the same calculations as in terms of days, weeks, months in a year. Unlike the Gregorian calendar that we have from Western Europe. Makes no sense. Absolutely makes no sense. However, question now is, how did different civilizations organize their time? And why do you think ours is less or is inferior to the rest? We're not able to shape our mindset, take pride in what our forefathers created. We can never revere them, can never learn from what they learned, can never understand the sacred things that they did and how, the universe and the forces of supernatural forces of this world, helped guide them. We had ages that our forefathers saw, which we're going to discuss on another day. I think that is something that we should look forward to bringing in, is the various ages and times that we're going to come. Apparently, we're in the time called Ogaun. Ogaun is more like the age of awareness. So more people become more aware during this time. And maybe that's why this podcast exists today, to help spread that awareness, that we can get ourselves away from the ages of darkness that we've been in for such a while, moving into the age whereby we could stand and be prominent again as Africans. Just so that you understand why this is deep. In the past, Africa has civilized the Western world twice, and we do it by bringing life not by taking life. In this era of civilization coming from the West, it's taken a lot of lives over the years. Millions of Africans have died. Transatlantic slave trade, colonization, new colonization also, and the way they control our resources and everything that we do today. IMF tells us in Nigeria what we should do for our economic progress, and we know that it is crazy, but our president signs it off, and we are moving. He comes from that same generation and had that direct impact with the white man and all the freaking brainwashing that went on, during that time. Those generations see themselves as less than the white man. I don't see myself. I see myself at least I'm less evil than the white man at the barest minimum. And I don't mind putting my face to that. However, it's not about blaming anybody. It's about, at some point, throw away all the blames that you're supposed to give. Then you focus on yourself and say, what can I do to be better? Now I know that these issues are the reasons why I have trauma. You're not going to live in your trauma forever. You're going to now have to take steps as a human being to make that trauma positive in your life. That's a wake-up call to all of us Africans. How do we change that trauma into something that is positive, that takes us to the next level and brings us into a position again to colonize the Western world sometime in the future? I would like to leave today's conversation at that. But before I go, I'd like you to go check out our partners at hellogodigital.com. Go Digital helps businesses and individuals get the most affordable branding services, websites, things like that, designed for African businesses who, have low income, be able to be online and compete with competition that showcase their products online. So let people get to know about you. Let people hear about what you're doing. Go Digital would get you to that. Check out hellogodigital.com, link below, and we'd like to hear your thoughts, comments about today's episode. I'd like to know what you want us to even talk about next. What concerns you? What worries you? What questions do you have? Let us explore these questions together and let us find answers to it. Let's grow our community together. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you don't miss any episode when we drop. Thank you very much and have a nice day ahead.